Today I'm going to show you how to make this tiny house out of popsicle sticks. At CAS, we're doing a tiny house project where we are going to display all of the tiny houses that are made by people in our community on February 14th. So if you'd like to go get a kit to make your house and instructions and templates for the house, you may go to CAS up through January 31st to pick up your kit and reserve a space in your spot for the tiny house display. That'll be in the Laundry King windows. But you can also just make a tiny house at home without the kit if you have some popsicle sticks, some wood glue, some stiff paper like cover stock or cardstock, and some other materials that you can find around your home. So the first thing you need to do to build your tiny house is to build 6 panels out of popsicle sticks. And the panels look like this. They have 2 popsicle sticks going this way and 12 popsicle sticks that are perpendicular to the 2 sticks on the inside. So I will show you how to make that panel. So I'm going to grab a bunch of popsicle sticks here. Now sometimes your sticks aren't always straight, so try to pick the straightest ones. We can use the crooked ones for other things in the project. I'm going to line up 12 sticks. Okay, I have 4. Let's see, this one's kind of crooked. 12. So you need a lot of popsicle sticks for this project because I think it takes almost 80 or 90 sticks to do the whole project. And I like to take 2 sticks and just kind of even them out a little bit, make them nice and straight. Now for this house, you're going to want to place your 2 popsicle stick supports about 1 inch inside from the edge of the panel. So I'm going to take some wood glue here. Now you probably could do this with white glue, but wood glue is so much stronger. And I know most people have wood glue kind of laying around the house, or you can get it at the local hardware store. And I just think since we're making houses, we want to make it as strong as we possibly can make it. So I thought wood glue would be fine. You could also use a hot glue gun if you have one and if you have an adult to help you with that. But wood glue will work just fine. And make sure you put on enough glue all the way to the edge of your support, because you want to make sure that there's glue on every single popsicle stick on your wall. And I'm just going to use my ruler here as a guide to make sure I get it about 1 inch from the edge of the panel here. And for the best results, what you're going to want to do is allow all 6 panels to dry before you start on the next part. So I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper and just put it on top. And then I have a nice heavy book, this big dictionary here. So I'm going to place this on top of my panel and wait for the glue to dry. And then we'll go on to the next step. Now that my panel is dry, the glue is completely dry on it, it's nice and sturdy, the fun part starts. We get to decorate. I think it's so much easier to decorate the house when it's flat than when it's set up like this. Even though this house stands up nice and straight, because it's made from paper on the gables here, it's not extremely sturdy. So it's so much easier to glue and paint and draw on a flat surface than on one of these surfaces. So I'm going to go ahead, and actually I've already gone ahead. I have painted all the walls red like this. And I've even started to add things like windows. In this house, I just made it a house that someone might live in with a chimney and smoke and windows and a door. On this, I thought it might be fun to turn it into a business. So I'm going to make the front facade of this house look like a bakery. So I have a bakery sign and a door and a nice display window. So if you're going to use the template that we've created for this tiny house project from Cass, you can go to Cass and pick up a package that's going to have the popsicle sticks and some templates in it. And the template looks like this. So on this template, we have 2 gables, and we have these corner supports for the walls, and we have a support for the roof that will join the roof pieces together. And then we've also included some windows and doors. So if you don't want to draw your own windows and doors, you can cut out the ones from the template and color them and glue them on to the walls of your house. If you'd like to make your own windows and doors, which is what I did for this, because I kind of needed it to be a custom window and a custom door and a custom sign, I actually just took a cracker box like this and I cut out pieces of cardboard, and I used a permanent marker for the black outlines, and I used colored pencils to color in the windows. And that's perfectly fine too. Also, if you don't have the Cass template, I can show you how to make the gables and the supports on your own. The measurements for the supports are each 4 1/4 tall by 1 3/4 inches wide, and you'll need 5 of them. So I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can cut these out, or you can cut them out from the template. Okay, so I have my supports cut out. I don't need this piece. And I'm just going to set those aside. What we really need right now are the gables. Now on the template, the gable looks like this. If you want to make your own gable on a piece of cardstock, and you'll need at least a 67-pound cover stock to do this, something nice and stiff. The bottom measurement of this triangle is 4 1/4 inches. And then what you do to make the triangle is you find the center of it at 2 1/8 inch, and you measure up to the top point. And that measurement is 3 1/2 inches. So this measurement is 4 1/4 inches, and then to the top of the triangle is 3 1/2 inches. So once you find this point, you can draw a line from this corner to this corner to make your gable. Now each flap on the gable is 1/2 inch in from the corner. And then the width of each flap is 1 inch. So that's how you can draw your very own gable if you're not going to use the template. And now what I suggest to do if you are going to draw your own gable is to label where the bottom is or where the top is, because it does make a difference. So I just wrote bottom on my gable, so I knew that that was the bottom of the triangle there, because it kind of looks the same all the way around. So anyway, once you get your gable cut out, you're going to fold your flaps in, and I like to use the handle of a scissor here and just smooth it out. That way you don't get a bunch of wrinkles, and then you can just kind of fold it back. And the reason I'm folding the gable is because I want to be able to see where the gable ends and the flaps begin, because I'm going to decorate this. And now I can see where the lines of the triangle are. So I have already decorated one of my gables. I wanted this gable to look like it had a board and batten style to it. So I just drew some lines that make it look like board and batten. You could make shingles. On this house I made scalloped style shingles. And then I thought it might be nice to add a little round window which there is a round window in the template, so you don't have to make your own. You can just cut out the one from the template and color it any color you want, or you can make your own if you like. I'm just going to take a small brush here and some adhesive. You can use white glue. Since this is paper, you can use, you know, any glue that you would use on paper. I'm just going to use this here. Paint my glue on. And glue my window to my gable. So now that gable is done, I can let that sit and dry. And I decided that with red walls, I thought a black roof might look nice with red walls. So I have painted this roof panel black. I am going to paint this one black as well. And the one thing to remember is when you're making your decorations on your walls and your roof, the wall popsicle sticks should be going horizontally this way. So when you're gluing your windows and doors and things onto it, make sure that you're holding your wall this way and not this way, because it really fits together better this way. And then the roof panels are going to go vertically this way. Now, you probably won't put too many decorations on the roof, but I did on this roof put a chimney, but I added that at the end. So I didn't really have to worry too much about the direction until I was adding the roof support. But it's good to know. All right, so I'm gonna get painting my other roof panel, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, now I have all my panels painted. I have my gables decorated. I have my doors and windows on my building. So the next thing we get to do is assemble the building. Now I've laid out all of my wall pieces in front of me because I want to make sure that I don't mix up the front facade and the side walls and the back facade. You know, I want to make sure I put them all in the right place. So I've lined this up. So this is the back, one side, the front, and the other side. So the first thing I need to do is take my front and my back side and attach the gables. So I'm just going to put my two side panels over here. And I'll attach the front gable first. On the front gable, I put a window. On the back gable, I did not. So I'm going to line this one up with the back and just put that aside and start with the front gable. So I'm going to turn my front facade panel over, and I want to make sure that I know which side is the top, because when you turn it over on the back, there's nothing on it, right? So just make sure that you know which side is the top, because you're going to glue your gable to that top. And then you're going to line up this tab with the top of the wall and just set it on top and hold it where it's going to be in place. Now you want the corners of your triangle to meet the corners of, or to meet the edges, I'm sorry, of your wall panel. So make sure your corners are on your edges. And I'm going to mark where my popsicle stick supports are. And the reason I'm doing this is because I need to cut out the spaces where the popsicle sticks are. Otherwise, my gable isn't going to lie flat. So I need to remove the cover stock here. So now I'm cutting out those places where I marked where the popsicle sticks are. So I like to cut the sides first and then get in there with my scissors and just cut it off. All right, now I am going to glue. Now you can either use your wood glue that you use to glue the popsicle sticks together, or you can use some white glue, you know, like school glue. Now again, make sure you know where your top is, because you don't want to glue this to the bottom, right? So make sure you know where your top is. Lay it down. And then just gonna use this here for glue. Paint a little on my tabs. All right. Nice and gluey. And then I'll flip this over and glue it to my front facade. And then we'll wait for that to dry, and I'll do the same thing to the back facade as well. Because my gables are made out of a thick paper called cover stock, they're a little wobbly. So I just want to add an extra support. So I'm going to take one popsicle stick and put a bunch of glue on it. And again, you can use white glue, or you could use wood glue, or you could use hot glue even. And I'm going to make a support right in the middle, so that I have some more sturdiness to my gable. And once it completely dries, we can start to assemble our walls and get our house together. So now we need to assemble our walls. Now on the cast template here, we have these 4 supports and then this additional one for the roof. So if you were going to use the template, you could cut these out and fold them in half. If you want to make your own, again, the measurement is, what did I say it was here? So 1 3/4 inches this way and 4 1/4 inches this way. So when you make those measurements, you get a rectangle like this. And what you'll need to do is fold it in half. And again, I like to take my scissors and just smooth out any wrinkles on the fold. Like that. Now I have my 2 side walls here. So I'm going to flip over the side walls, and I'm going to glue a corner support here, one here, one here, and one here. And once the glue is dry, we can put all the sides together. While the glue is drying on our wall panels, I'm going to assemble the roof panels. Now the roof panel has the same kind of joiner that the walls have. And the one thing we just want to make sure when we assemble the roof is that the roof goes like this, so that the scalloped edge that the popsicle sticks made are touching each other at the point. We don't want to glue it this way. So make sure your rounded edges are touching each other when you glue the roof panel together. So get it just right. Get it together. And as you know with glue, you might have to wait a minute or 2 for it to dry. But once it's kind of set there, you can put it aside and let it dry on its own. Now that the supports on my walls are pretty much dry, I'm going to assemble the walls together. So I like to lay them out in the order that I'm going to do that. And I also, again, you just want to make sure that you're gluing them the right way. Make sure that the tops are all on the top and the bottom is all on the bottom, so that you don't make a mistake and glue a wall on upside down. So I'm going to put some glue on this wall support. And attach it to the front. have to give it a second, let it set a little bit. You don't have to wait until it's completely dry to do the next one, but make sure it's not going to fall off. As you can see, this is a project that takes time. This isn't something that can be done quickly, but I think it's fun. And so I kind of like these projects where you have to do them in stages and take your time on them. I think it really helps to learn about engineering and how to build things. And so while the glue is setting, you know, hold it together for a minute or two just to get it set up. And then you can tip it upright and let it completely dry. Now, I think it's really important in between each gluing step that you do let the glue dry completely, just so it's not falling apart as you're building it. And next we'll do the roof. Now we're going to assemble the roof. I think the roof is the trickiest part of this whole project because we've got all of our walls assembled, and the thing about the roof is we have these inside supports. And so remember when we put the gables on that we had to mark where the supports were and cut out around them so that the gable would lie flat? Well, we have to do the same thing with the roof, and that's a bit tricky, but I'll show you how to do it. So we have our roof assembled like this, and I'm just going to lay it down on the table. And then I'm going to take our tiny house, and we know the point of our roof is going to go right in the middle. So I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to lay, now the house is a bit flimsy, so you got to be a little bit careful. Once we put the roof on, it won't be so flimsy. And we're going to line the point of the roof up to, let's see, make sure everything's lined up. Okay, that's lined up. So I'm going to hold that there. Now you might need a friend or a sibling or a parent to just hold things for you while you draw your lines. Here's my lines here. Okay, so, and then what we'll do is we'll just turn it around, and I'll lay this side of the roof on the table. And again, we'll line up that point. Well, everything's moving on me here. And we'll hold that down. Whoa! See, it's super tricky. And we'll mark where those popsicle sticks are. So I'm going to move the house away. And I drew my lines on the back wall. So just so I don't forget which side is which, I'm going to write back. So I know that when I go to put my roof on, that side is going to be on the back wall. And then I'll go ahead and do the exact same thing for the front gable. All right, so now I have my little tabs cut out and I have to assemble the roof. This is also a bit tricky, but we can do it. All right, so let's get some glue on our tabs here. Clean off my brush a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna dab glue on all these tabs. One more to go. Okay, done. Now, remember I labeled my roof back, so I just want to make sure that goes to the back. And I'm going to just line everything up, which is not that easy to do. So be patient. This is a little bit challenging. I think I've got it pretty well lined up. And then I can put my hand on the inside of the house and start to push these tabs closer to where I want them. And luckily the glue doesn't dry immediately, so I have a little time to just fiddle with it and make sure the tabs are in place. So now my tiny house is complete. However, there are a few things on it that I would like to dress up a little bit. For example, where the roof meets the gable, there's a little bit of a gap. So on this tiny house here, I took a piece of paper and those scissors that make scalloped edge, and I cut an edge and I glued the paper here just to cover up this gap that you get in the roof. You could also glue on a trim piece of a popsicle stick if you don't like the gap. On this tiny house also, I didn't really like the way the roof met here. I thought it looked a little sloppy. So I took another piece of paper and just made a rectangle and folded it and glued it on top and painted it the same color as my roof. Now with these houses, you can get really creative. I mean, you could add a porch, you could add an awning, you could add a little sidewalk in front of the bakery. You could pretty much do whatever you like, and you can make it as tall as you like. The only rule we have about the tiny house project, if you want to have it displayed in the Laundry King window, is that the footprint of the house, now the footprint is the measurement of the bottom of the house. So the footprint of the house cannot exceed 9 by 9 inches. This tiny house here is not quite 5 inches by 5 inches. So that gives you a little bit of space if you wanted to add little details that stick out on the house, like say a window box on your window. But if you make it larger than 9 inches by 9 inches, it may not fit into the display that we're making for the window. So just make sure you keep it under that width. Otherwise, make it as tall as you like. It can, you can put on extra stories, you can make smoke coming out of the chimney like I did. Just make sure that when you set it down on a table, it doesn't tip over. That's really, really important. And you can drop your tiny house off at Cass Art Center on certain dates that are on our website on catskillartsociety.org. You can also pick up your kits up through January 31st. So check our website for the dates, for the pickup dates and the drop-off dates. And if you're not going to use one of our kits, just make sure you send us an email at info@catskillartsociety.org to let us know that you would like to participate in the tiny house project, and make sure you get us that email by January 31st as well. And that way we can reserve a space in our display in the Laundry King window. Thanks so much for watching the tiny house project instructional video. I can't wait to see what you make.